North America. Despite their faults, are one of the largest and most engaged consumers of Counter-Strike. Or at least they were. Despite the region's high population, access to funding, and a strong culture around gaming, for most of Counter-Strike's history, NA has been underwhelming and the butt of many community jokes. But today, we're taking it back to a brief period in 2019 when North America was unequivocally the home of the greatest team in Counter-Strike. This squad dismantled the unbeatable Astralis that had been bullying the scene for 2 years. Consistently were beating teams containing the two best players in the world at the time, Simple and WII. And most importantly, this team achieved the impossible. Respect from Europeans. We're taking it back to a time when Elige had hair, Twists hadn't gone through puberty yet, and everyone got wet. Today, we're talking Team Liquid. We're going to turn the clock back to 2018. Cloud9 have just won the major, showing that NA can perform. Sometimes. Liquid, the heroes of the unwritten story to come, went out at 14th. This was rock bottom. After the embarrassment at the Boston Major, a change was due. The man who loved to lounge, JDM64, was out, and in a very fitting way, they brought in Naf, the sloth. One lounger for another.
No, I'm not an actual sloth. Sloth and humans are different species, but we can have the same mental. It really helps me in CSGO.
This was the point when the main core of the team, which would claim the many accolades to come, was formed. Naf, Twists, Elige, and Nitro, plus Brazilian Steel. Hey, not you. The first tournament Liquid ever played with this new squad was CS Summit 2 in LA. The chill vibes that are exuded from the Summit events clearly felt quite homey to the Sloth. He leads the new look Liquid to the final and beats down fraudulent compatriots Cloud9. Naf gets an MVP at his first ever event with new Liquid. The real test for the brand new core came next, Katowice, one of the most prestigious events in Counter-Strike. They even named a city in Poland after this tournament. With wins against Gambit and Cloud9, they find themselves in the Spodek. First, playing iconic org, NIP. The star trio of Twists, Naf, and Elige were able to completely overpower the old Swedes, taking the game 2-1, and going into the semi-finals against Fnatic. Here, they're taken down and are outclassed by the other aging Swedish squad. They couldn't get past all 10 of the Swedes. But this is a new team, and getting to the semis of their very first big event is a pretty big deal. Despite this somewhat successful run, it was here when Liquid swapped out Steel for fellow Brazilian and major winner, Taco, freeing up Nitro to exclusively call and increasing the team's firepower dramatically. The first S-tier international LAN this new Liquid squad played was ECS Season 5. Here, Liquid was able to get past everyone with ease, bar one team. In the finals, they met a team that everyone knows. The greatest team to ever touch Counter-Strike, and perhaps esports as a whole. Astralis. While this particular encounter was a bit of a blowout, this final was the start of one of the greatest rivalries in Counter-Strike. After the strong showing at ECS, the next tournament was Cologne 2018. Liquid was going in as one of the favourites alongside FaZe, Na'Vi and Astralis, but went out in dead last place. Missing out on Cologne disappointed the squad and gave them the hunger to push harder for future events, particularly E-League, the $1 million tournament that would go ahead in Atlanta. Before we get into E-League, I need to give you just a little bit of context into Liquid as an org. Liquid, for the uninitiated, has a bit of a history with choking.
But with much more utility to work with. Here he comes once again. The first base is a Dren. He's going to hit the ground there as Cold. Oh, what? A jumping double from Cold! What is going on right now? How does he do this? Cold is Sable velocity with the...
And while that particular choke wasn't this core, there's just something with this org that makes its players' throats close up when the pressure mounts. like they're able to get within a hair's breadth to closing out a series, but then they let it slip away. Or go insane the entire tournament, but disappear in the final. Okay, with that context, I can bring you back to E-League. At E-League Atlanta, Liquid was able to comfortably pass anyone in their way, with the typical trio of Naf, Twists, and Elige putting up just evil numbers. But in the final, they again came up against Astralis, and for the third time in 2018, Astralis sweep the floor with Liquid in the grand final and take away the sweet taste of victory. Next came the London Face It Major. They play well and make it through the challenger stage easy as pie, 3-0. They even win against Astralis here in the challenger stage. Things are looking good. But in the semi-finals, they again come against their arch nemesis, Astralis. I'll give you 3 seconds to think about what happens. Liquid, high stakes, and playing Astralis. Yeah, they get clapped again. But after the major, at the next tournament they are attending, ESL 1 New York, there was a little bit of light in the tunnel. This event had no Astralis in attendance. This was surely in the bag for Liquid. They made it comfortably through group play and into the playoffs, then past Gambit and into the grand final against Mouse. After losing Keish, they take Nuke and Inferno, only needing one more map for the win. They start strong on Dust 2 as T, ending the half 11-4. But the Liquid curse struck again and the map went to OT with Mouse taking it out. Then, in map 5, on Mirage, the final map of ESL 1 New York, one of the most iconic plays of all of CSGO was made by Chris J.
Still very much in the round. Oh, Chris! He's found 3. It's down to a 2-on-2. Chris, can he close this with an ace? Oh my God! Chris, the Wolf of Wall Street gets an ace, and it's championship point Mouse Sports.
And with that, Mouse took the map, the game, and the trophy, with Liquid once again getting second. Maybe it isn't just an Astralis allergy. Liquid just seemed allergic to winning. Anytime it looks certain they're going to win a major event, they choke. And choke hard. Heading into the last period of 2018, there were 3 more large tournaments up for grabs. IEM Chicago, ECS Season 6, and APL Season 8. IEM Chicago saw Liquid once again reach the grand final, and against Astralis 2. They get absolutely slaughtered 3-0. ECS Season 6 saw Liquid go out in groups, and the last tournament of the year, ESL Pro League Season 8, saw a final that we've seen so many times over the year, Liquid versus Astralis again. How these teams consistently were on opposite ends of the bracket to meet in the final is miraculous. But things went as expected and Astralis took out the title. Liquid came second in 7 finals over 2018. In order to take that final step towards winning, a change was in order. Someone who has the mental hardiness to get this team over the line in situations that are do or die.
Stewie's won the round! We're going to overtime!
One man in North America is up to the task. The man that has clutch in his veins. That's right, Stewie 2K. Taco is now gone, and Liquid is 100% North American. We are now in a new year, 2019, and the first tournament of the year for Liquid is the iBuy Power Masters 2019 in LA. For the new team, Liquid used this event to build up their chemistry with Stewie and with the new coach, Adren. But despite this more relaxed approach, Liquid find themselves in the final against, you guessed it, Astralis. The game starts on Inferno, Liquid's pick, but they get absolutely pummeled. It certainly looks like old habits die hard, and beating Astralis is just an impossible feat for Liquid. But things turn around on Astralis' pick of Dust 2. The individuals really pick up the pace, especially Stewie, bringing his clutchness to the squad for the first time. Dust wraps up as 16-11, and we go to Overpass for map 3. On Overpass, Liquid start slow, with a 9-6 half to Australis, but on the second half they clean up with 10 rounds, taking the map 16-11 and the series 2-1. Liquid has broken the curse. After 0 wins against the Danes in playoffs in 2018, the first tournament of the year, they get a win in the grand final against Australis and get a trophy. This year is going to be very different for Liquid. With that weight off the Liquid squad, now they can beat any team. They headed to the major in Katowice with confidence. They made it to the playoffs with ease, cruising through the challenger stage 3-0. They beat Avangar, Nip, and Na'Vi. Liquid looked unstoppable. But a certain gentleman named Alexi B had other ideas. Ents win, and Liquid was out in quarters. Any excuse to get the old Ents jersey out. Liquid then relived their 2018 briefly on the Blast circuit, coming second to Australis at Blast Sao Paulo and second to FaZe at Blast Miami. Was Liquid back to their choking ways? Well, heading to Sydney, we would all find out if the Stewie edition would continue to be the change they needed. At this point in time, Liquid were ranked number 2 in the world, and with Australis skipping Sydney due to the travel distance, Liquid were well and truly the favourites to win. And they show it with a straight shot through to the semis, not dropping a single map. And after clapping MIBR, Liquid find themselves in yet another grand final, this time against Fnatic. It goes to all 5, and Liquid managed to take it out on the last map, Inferno. Liquid, in 2019, has finally won a big event and have entered the race for the Intel Grand Slam. This is a title that had only been achieved once before, by Australis, and required 4 wins of approved tournaments. And at least one of those wins needs to be a championship tournament, meaning Cologne, Katowice, or an ESL operated major. After Liquid won IEM Sydney, they attended a number of smaller tournaments in the US, ECS Season 7, EPL Americas Season 9, and CS Summit 4. While they didn't win any of these, they reached the final of each and every single one, and were able to bolster up their map pool, specifically Nuke. The first high-tier event Liquid attended since their win in Sydney was DreamHack Masters Dallas. This was an eligible tournament in the Intel Grand Slam race, and winning could potentially place them as the number 1 ranked team in the world for the first time. They once again shoot straight through to the semis after defeating Lucid Dream, North, and FaZe. And with no Australis at the event, they come up against Finnish Dream Team Ents and manage to take the win 2-1. Taking the second required tournament for the Intel Grand Slam, they also reached the number 1 spot in the world. Liquid is the first North American team to hold the position since records started in 2015. Next up came ESL Pro League Season 9, potentially the 3rd notch in Liquid's belt for the Intel Grand Slam. To start, they came up against North, and lost, sending Liquid to face their first lower bracket gauntlet in months. Beating Tyloo, Hellraisers, and MIBR, they were still able to make it to playoffs and save complete embarrassment. But guess who else didn't shoot straight through to the semis and came to meet them in the quarters? Their good old friends from Denmark, Australis. This was not going to be easy. After losing Overpass, Liquid took the next 2 maps, Inferno and Vertigo respectively. This was a team effort with everyone making some fat plays. Liquid beat Australis for the 2nd time ever. And after a quick semi against Mouse, Liquid find themselves in the grand final against G2. G2 making it to the finals at all was a bit of a shock, and they were not one of the favourites. This made for easy pickings for Liquid, and they snagged themselves the trophy. Elige says, "We are 100% the best team in the world." This is the confidence that Liquid would need going into the next tournament on the circuit. Cologne, the cathedral of Counter-Strike. And because Liquid has 3 trophies already, it's not just Cologne on the line, it's the Intel Grand Slam. Getting to the Lanxess was easy for the lads, beating MVP PK, Na'Vi and NRG to shoot straight to the semis. Here, they come up against Na'Vi and Simple, the #1 player from the previous year and the defending Cologne champions. But with Simple underperforming and unable to carry the dead weight of Flamey and Zeus, Liquid were able to take the series 2-0, finding themselves in the grand final. Liquid now had one final obstacle to get past to raise the biggest trophy in Counter-Strike, the French. And most importantly, the chosen one, the man born on the same day CS was officially released, ZywOo. Liquid are able to overpower the French squad, with really only ZywOo putting up any kind of fight, plus Le Tank RPK. But NBK, Alex, and Apex were nowhere to be seen. Liquid claim the most revered trophy in the game, and all get a cheeky little gold bar to boot for winning 4 back-to-back ESL run events. After all of the hardships this team faced, with failure after failure, at the last possible moment, it must have felt all worth it in the end, and hard work certainly paying off for the team. This was the first and last time a North American squad lifted the trophy in Cologne, the cathedral of Counter-Strike. Hello. If you're still watching, you should subscribe. Clearly doing something right if you're still watching 16 minutes in. So 95% of you are not subscribed. So subscribe. Anyway, back to the video. There were 2 more tournaments to go until the summer player break, and both were in the States. Blast Pro Series LA and IEM Chicago. In LA, Liquid did not drop a single map the entire event, and in addition to NAF getting the event MVP, everyone, sans Nitro, was an EVP of the event, a testament to their complete domination. Next came Chicago, a larger event than Blast in LA, but besides losing a map against G2 in the group stage, Liquid was able to beat everyone in front of them with ease, beating Vitality in the semis 2-0 and ENCE in the grand final 3-0. Liquid were unbeatable. Liquid, obviously, is a totally different thing. No one can beat Liquid now. They're just too good. I think the only thing that's going to stop them right now is the player break, and hope they drop off a little bit, because it's ridiculous. Alex from Vitality must have been a time traveler, as he was right about the player break. IEM Chicago was the very last trophy Liquid ever lifted. And just like that, the era of North American Counter-Strike dominance came to an end. Team Liquid had achieved what once seemed impossible, crushing the best teams in the world, claiming trophy after trophy, and standing atop the Counter-Strike throne. But what comes up must also go down. The player break halted their momentum, and when they returned, they were never quite the same. The hunger that once fueled them, the drive to prove NA was more than just a joke, had dulled. But for that fleeting moment in 2019, NA wasn't the punchline. They were the standard. They were the ones everyone feared. And in a game where dominance is often fleeting, Liquid's summer run will forever be remembered as one of the greatest streaks in Counter-Strike history. The Cathedral of Counter-Strike was theirs, the Grand Slam was theirs, and for once, the respect of the world belonged to North America. Because for that brief, fleeting moment, NA was the best.